Hello, my family. We are actually in the kitchen today. Oddly enough, last week we had really winter-like weather down into upper 20s to lower 30s. And then all of a sudden we're back up to really warm temps again. This is actually a scary thought. But regardless, I'm going to actually make a low-carb soup for us tonight. One being Olive Garden's copycat of Zuppa Tuscana. And I'm also going to be making a low-carb cheesy breadsticks. So I thought I would take you on this journey with me since we have not spent some time in the kitchen for a while. We've had a lot of things that have come up, and so I've been actually busy. But I'm getting back to my videos now. Y'all are amazing for hanging in there with me, and I can't thank you enough. I really can't. So I decided today that I'm going to actually take you in the kitchen with me and make a really nice meal for two, and or actually I'm going to give you the original recipe that serves 8, and you can moderate it any way you want. Now I am going to be cutting some things out of this Zuppa Tuscana recipe, kind of lower down the fat a little bit. The only thing I am going to eliminate is I'm actually taking out the bacon. Now, as far as being low carb, okay, so this one here won't be exactly low carb. However, I can give you the alternatives to a low carb. We are going to try something. I told you all that my husband's medication that he was put on it, we have no choice due to so-called heart condition. They decided to put him on this medication. We have been noticing some huge differences in this medication. So, I mean, if you can't beat them, join them. So we are actually going to put a small amount of real potatoes into our soup and test him on that. But for those of you who cannot risk this, for those of you who are not on medication like we started him not to be, your alternative, I will tell you, use turnips. Turnips are a fantastic alternative in the soup to a potato. So I thought I'd get that clear. I am going to be adding potato to this, but a very small amount. I'm not going to be adding what the recipe calls for. I will be doing way less than that. And the variation to that, or substitution for those strictly on low carb who are absolutely diabetic and cannot waver, turnips. We have done that and it worked great. So I thought I'd go ahead and tell you that before we get started. So with that, let's hit the kitchen and make some dinner. Okay, my family. So the recipe calls for 1 pound of Italian sausage. Now I am also going to be removing these casings. Although I will not be using all of this pound, I will be actually cooking it and then freezing half a pound of this because I'm only doing half this recipe. So I'm going to actually pull the skins off of these because all I want is just the meat on the inside. I do not want the casing. Now that can be totally up to you if you want the casings or not. You can, it doesn't matter. I'm just choosing them off, and then I'm going to break these in bite-sized pieces like this. Let me go ahead and get this started. In the meantime, I've also got my oven on to 400 degrees for the cheesy breadsticks. And those will be strictly low carb, y'all. Like I said, we're just going to cut that casing off of here and do that to all of these sausages. And you can use basically any type of sausage you want. You can use Polish sausage, hot sausage, sweet, Italians, anything that you want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and once I get this done, we will be back. I'm going to go ahead and cook these up, and I will be back as to what we're going to do after we get these sausages cooked up. Okay, y'all, so our sausages are cooked. I thought I'd show you something real cute, y'all, too. We went to Walmart this weekend, and I found some stuff that I thought was really adorable to add to the Homestead kitchen. And when I do my videos with you, this was one of them. That is so super cute. And it fits the cabin style home, which we will do a video one day on the decorations and how the cabin looks around the holidays. And we got that one, and we went and got this one here. And we have these here that look like little mittens. And they each came with some little ones that went along with them. So, just to let you know, if you wanted something fun, these are at Walmart. The ones with the hands type, they come with 3 sizes. They come with this one. They come with a medium size like this, and then a small size. These 3 are like $3.97. And then the other ones that came, like this one here, it would take this one and maybe, I think, that one, yeah, this one here. These 2 here went together, and then it had a cookie cutter, and these were $3.97. So, if you wanted something cute and festive in your kitchen like I have in mine right now, that's where I got this from. So, if you start seeing these in the kitchen, you know where I get them. I like sharing cute things, and I figured y'all, for those of you who are into homesteading like I am, these are just really cute things we like to have in our kitchens. Not mandatory, though. So now I am going to actually pull these out and set them aside for a bit, because I'm going to go ahead and saute the onions next. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. And like I said, I'm not using all of this meat because I'm going to be using only half of this recipe anyway. So I'm going to be freezing the rest for another meal out of them. And probably, honestly, another round of Zuppa Tuscana for the 2 of us. So I'm going to just go ahead and clean this out. And then with the fats that's already in here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw in our onions. And I'm just going to saute these for just a bit. I'm also going to add in some minced garlic as well. And we're going to use 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic. The onion was a half of a medium, or half of a large onion for this recipe. So this one here, it's actually a small garlic. Alright, so I'm going to try and get what I can out of this. This one turned out to have really small pieces in it. Yeah, just picking these out aside. And y'all, if you're like me, you could choose actually as much garlic as you want. Now, even though I'm doing this in a smaller quantity in the of the recipe, I'm actually going to go ahead and add some more garlic to this. And considering these are small pieces anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and add a few extra. Like, these are really tiny. I don't know what's going on with the garlic these days when you buy them, but they're just small. So now I'm just going to go ahead and mash these and add that to our onions. Just like so. And I'm just going to mince them up a little bit. And I'm going to add this in here. Alright. Now I'm going to mix this. And then we are going to add 28 ounces of chicken broth. I am actually going to be using our home canned broth, as you can see. So this is our bone broth that I'm going to be adding to this. And it calls for 1 quart of water on top of that. I'm going to mix all this together. You can add some red pepper flakes if you are not using a hot Italian sausage, or if you are, it depends on you. I'm going to throw in a little bit, plus some salt and pepper in here. This is to taste. So I'll check it out now and then come back later to taste my broth. Now I'm going to also go ahead and add the sausage to this, because I'm going to let everything cook together. At this point, this is where you would add your potatoes or your turnips. For me, it's going to be potatoes, and I used 1 russet potato diced small, and then I let it sit in water to release its starches out of it. And I'm going to add that in here as well. And when my husband gets this, he's not going to get a whole bunch of potatoes, so. Now we're just going to let this cook until these potatoes are tender. Once that is tender, we will come back and show you the rest of our soup. Alright, y'all, so while our soup is over here simmering and cooking and the potatoes are getting tender, we're going to go ahead, since the oven is already preheated, we're going to go ahead and make our cheesy bread. Now this is going to be a fathead dough version, so I'm just going to go ahead and let you know. I am looking at some other breadstick versions. I have found some interesting recipes to which I will be doing those with you, because a lot of us like some breadsticks with some of our meals. So those are low carb. They're actually keto versions of breadsticks, so I will definitely be doing those, and we can always top them with cheese and all that later too. But for tonight, we're just going to do it this way. So what we have is 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. I have 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. I am going to be sprinkling about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning in here. I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon of garlic powder also in here. And you can go a little bit more than that if you wanted to. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. A pinch of salt. And a 1/2 cup of almond flour. And we are going to put this for about 30 seconds in the microwave until this is melted. Once this is melted, we're going to be adding 1 cup, or 1 egg, I should say. So I'm needing a 1/2 cup of almond flour, which this is what I'm using right now to add to this. Alright, So I'm going to mix this up just a little bit. Then I'm going to put this in the microwave until it melts, 30 seconds at a time. And once this is melted, we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so now we've got our dough just about formed, so I'm going to go ahead and add 1 egg to this mix. And I'm going to mix this up really well. Now I'm going to put it on a parchment lined paper, or actually for me I'm going to use a silicone mat because this is a small batch. So I'm just going to mix this up really well, incorporate this egg into this mixture. Once I get that done in here and kneaded, I will be right back and show you what to do next. Okay, so our mix is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my melted butter. I'm going to add in a saucepan 1 tablespoon of butter. Put this over here by my oven, get that melted. I'm going to add a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. I don't have any fresh, so I'm going to use the already store-bought kind, basically. So, just using what I have on hand, y'all. Pantry challenge is about to begin, so we are going to take advantage of the upcoming sales, and from there, it's going to be game on at that point. So I got 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. I need 1 clove of garlic, which in place of that, I am actually going to be using some dried. So for that, I'm going to use about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'm going to use a tablespoon of chopped parsley, or in my case, dried parsley. And the reason we're going to heat this up and melt it is we want this over the top of our mix before we put this in the oven. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this lid on our soup. I turn this on to get this melted, and once this is melted, we will be right back. Okay, y'all, so this is melting. I'm going to go ahead and take our mixture now that we did for the bread, and I'm just going to mash this down. I'm probably going to get a spatula to do this, and I'll probably grease it just a little bit, or at least use water on it, because this is really sticky, y'all. You could use parchment paper if you wanted to and roll it out as well. I'm just going to go ahead and get a spatula, just like so. It doesn't really stick to the silicone that bad, so I'm just going to go ahead and push this out to about 1/4 inch thick, 1/2 inch at the most. Oh yeah, difference between sticky versus not so sticky. Just push this out as much as I can, trying to form a rectangle if I can. Just like so. And if it's thick on this edge, I can push it out down here just by flipping this around and pushing up so it goes up and out just like so. And then push these edges back in again. I'm just wanting to make this even all the way around. That's about it right there. Smooth it out now. Now I am changing this recipe a bit because after I brush my butter on top of here as well, I'm also going to be spreading just a little bit more mozzarella cheese on top of this. Okay, so our butter is completely melted at this point, so I'm going to set that aside because we're not ready for it yet. I'm just going to go ahead, and that smells wonderful, y'all. Okay, so we now have this completely squared off the best that I can. And now I'm going to brush our garlic butter on top of this for that extra flavor, and then I'm going to grate some Parmesan cheese on top of that as well. I'll just go ahead and use the same spatula that I'm using because I'm just going to spread this on here. Honestly, it's kind of a thick sauce, so we're just going to just spread this on here all the way through this as much as possible because I want to make this as even with flavoring as I can. It's been a long time since we had cheesy breadsticks, and it just felt it was a good night for it with the Tuscana soup. Okay. Now that finishes off this mix here, and now I'm just going to go ahead and pop some grated cheese on top of this, and then we're going to pop this in the oven. It's a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 17 minutes. I'm just going to grate some of this on the top. Out just a little bit. And these supposedly can be dipped in marinara afterwards too. So, alright, that's it, y'all. So now we're going to pop this in the oven. Once this is done, I will bring you back and show you what our breadsticks look like. In the meantime, I'm going to get these in the oven and we will be back with our soup. Okay, y'all, so we are now back at our soup. We're going to check our potatoes for doneness, and because these are diced so tiny, I didn't think it was going to take long. So our next step now is we're going to add our kale. So it calls for, on our kale, hang on a minute, 2 cups of kale chopped. Now, I will be honest, mine didn't come in yet from this weather. It's still very, very tiny, so I had to store buy it. So I'm just going to go ahead. Ours have been cleaned, so I'm just going to chop this up in bits in here. And you do not have to use the recommended amount of 2 cups. You can actually add more kale if you want. It does cook down. And I tend to like a little bit more kale in our soup. The rest of this is pretty much already chopped down, so I'm just going to put that in here. And we're going to mix this together. Add some of our red pepper flakes to this next. On the other side of y'all, because I actually forgot to bring some of it to you over there, so we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle just a little bit of red pepper flake just for a kick in here, as you can see, just like that. And now just mix this all together. This makes a nice, cozy, comfy soup for the winter time too, y'all. This is actually one of my favorites. And this is easy to convert to low carb. If you didn't want to add a potato sauce at all, you didn't have to. You can add turnips. You can add cauliflower. You can leave it out. For those of you who don't worry about carbs, just add your favorite potato. Again, if you didn't want anything, you can leave them out. So the last step, now remember, I left out the bacon, but I will give you in the description box below the full recipe. At this point now, I am going to test my broth. This is the one thing I always say, y'all. Test your food. See where you stand at. See if it needs anything at this point. You always want to taste your food. And at this point, it's absolutely perfect. Now all I need is my cream. Okay, so at this point, it calls for heavy whipping cream. However, if you wanted to make this lower fat, you can use almond milk. You could use milk. You can use another source besides heavy whipping cream. I am actually going to use heavy whipping cream because to me, I like the flavor of it. And it calls for 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And we're just going to add that to our soup. Go ahead and clean this out. And we're just going to let this simmer at this point because basically the soup is done. And that's all we do is now let it simmer. And this, y'all, I don't buy Zuppa Tuscana no more, to be honest with you. Making our own version has been absolutely amazing. And when I found out the copycat recipe to this, I had never went back to Olive Garden, I'll be honest. I like making my own. So, and it is economically friendly to make this. And you can, I have done this too. I have frozen the leftovers. So if you make a big pot, you can absolutely freeze this. So now all we're doing is waiting on our cheesy bread. Once that is done, we will be right back and I will show you the full meal of tonight's dinner. Okay, y'all, here is our cheesy bread. It looks absolutely amazing. We will be doing a taste test. I'm going to set you up and finish cutting this and show you how we're doing this. Okay, so I'm actually using a pizza cutter. You can choose what you want. Let this cool down just ever so slightly. And then I'm just coming down here and cutting strips. Just like this with the pizza cutter. And then I'm just going to come straight down the center. Just like so. And that's it. Now I'm going to take a piece of this out and we're going to try this together. Like I said, I've never made this and I've never been a fan of basically fathead dough, but I want to see how this one worked. And if this works good, I could use this on a charcuterie night or something, or even have these one night with some homemade marinara. So let's get set up and we'll try this. Okay, y'all, so at this point, supper is done. Now, hubby is on his way home from work, and it's going to be a little bit, so I'm just going to keep everything on the low, keep it warm, and if I have to, I can reheat. What's nice about this pizza crust, or this, it's not even a pizza crust, however, you could make it that way, by the way, but this cheesy bread, you could put this on a low setting in your oven and reheat it. Just watch it very carefully. But I'm going to find, it's just, it looks amazing. It looks just like a crust to me. So I'm going to take a bite real quick and see what this is like. interesting. Hang on a minute. Okay, y'all. So for a quick fix, this will absolutely work for placement of cheese sticks or cheese bread. Like I said, I am getting ready to try some recipes that actually turn out like a bread source for cheese sticks, or not cheese sticks, but breadsticks. So once I do those, sprinkling some cheese on top would make it spot on of having cheesy bread. So we'll be working on that, and you know, if I can do this, I will absolutely share it with you. That's just who I am, and that's what I do. So I hope this complete meal tonight gives you an idea on a very cold night. Although it seems cold is going to be quite a while, but winter is coming, y'all. Our pantry challenge is coming, and these are going to be some inexpensive meals and a way to have comfort in a bowl, or snacks if you want, per se. Just so many ideas. This breadstick stuff that we made tonight, also, you can literally turn that into a pizza crust. It will absolutely work for that. Just to tell you, by taste testing this, I knew that we could turn that into a pizza crust. So I'm hoping you enjoyed this version of supper tonight on the Homestead. I will definitely be getting with you very soon, talking to you about some sales that are coming up, as things that I am seeing, and I'm hoping it's actually going to help you get prepared for winter. So until next time, much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.